the schedule is based around my life, not my life is based around the schedule. And so, yeah, that's what success looks like to me.
Hey everybody, my name is Tom LaFaso. This is the Follow the Winners podcast. Today I'm here with Theo Massillon. We're going to be talking about success, everything in between. Follow the Winners obviously is going to be the main topic, but I'm super excited to have Theo on with me today because he has a very similar business that I have, if not almost exactly the same. But I'm excited because I think this whole podcast is really about obviously follow the winners, but finding people who are winners and pointing them out and so on. And I think Theo is probably a winner in my life, in my situation, just because of the fact that he is doing something that I'm doing and he's progressed a little bit further than I am. So I can, put him up there in that winning category. So I have Theo with me today. I'm just going to kind of give it to him and have him introduce himself. But hey, what's up, Theo?
What's up? How you doing, Tom? I'm
Doing
good.
good.
Good. I mean, thanks for the awesome introduction. A little bit about myself. Theo Massillon, been in marketing since college. That's what I graduated in international marketing. And I own my own company. It's called Knob Media. We're a marketing video production / PR company. And we do everything from digital marketing all the way through video production, low end to high end, a little bit of PR outreach, but that's really my passion, the production, the producing, the directing, the creative aspect of like just seeing people win in a marketing fashion and getting your name out there. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Cool. All right. So to kind of go further into what you're saying, like who are you in a sense? How did you get to this point? Tell us a little bit of a backstory.
Who am I? That's a good question. I'm just a kid who grew up in Queens, New York. I mean, I was always someone who is really creative from like elementary school through high school, always in like school plays, always like trying to be like the next big thing. Me and my friends had a short rapping stint. And like I was always known as the hype man. Like I love seeing people win. I think that's like that should be like my moniker. Like I just like to see people win. Not even necessarily myself, just like seeing people grow, seeing the growth in anything anybody does is something that I love to do. And that kind of manifested itself in marketing, really doing a deep dive into what makes people tick, what makes people gravitate to whatever you're trying to put out there and what makes them become big fans. So, yeah.
All right. So from school, though, in high school, you had all these like creative tendencies. And it's funny you even said the rapping thing, because even me and like my two friends, I'll never forget, I like converted my closet in my room into a recording booth. I had like my sister's laptop and my friend was rapping and I'm sitting there trying to put the
Yeah.
music to the rap. It's so bad. So bad.
Loops.
Like literally so bad. But it was fun, man. So that's funny. We have that in common. But going after school and like all that stuff, how did you progress? I know you said you did something else the last time we spoke, like
Yeah.
right out of school. So, what was that and how did you get to where you are?
I graduated college in like 2011, which, as you know, is like right after the 2008 financial crisis. So
Yeah.
like there was no jobs anywhere. Like it was rough out here in these streets. And as a college graduate, everybody always told you like you go to college and you graduate and then you get a really good job and you could buy a house and you could go on vacation and blah blah. And that is just a bull-faced lie. That is just a bull-faced lie. Get out of college and it's like, yeah, be a cashier at a supermarket, which is no shade to cashiers at supermarkets, but like I didn't pay like hundreds of thousands of dollars in college to be a cashier.
Yeah.
I could have done that for free,
Yeah.
without getting a degree in marketing, right?
Yeah.
So right out of college, I had a basically like a cousin-in-law, my now wife's cousin, was just in Local 3 Electricians Union. He was like, hey, you need a job. I know it's rough out there right now. Local 3 is hiring. And so I got into Local 3 as like an estimator slash project manager. And
Mhm.
so as, estimator slash project manager, over the past like 8 to 10 years, I learned a lot about how to run a job, budgeting, team leading, RFPs, all that stuff that goes into like project management. And that really helped in my growth with opening my own marketing firm because, I knew marketing, but I didn't know how to run a team until, I learned that on the field doing project management for all those years.
Yeah. That's definitely a really great transition in just that sense. Um, I feel like project managing isn't like an easy job to get in a sense.
It's not. It's kind of like there are licenses and stuff you could go to school for project management, but it's really like all different. You have to learn on the field, really.
Oh yeah, I
Like
believe it.
it's tough out there, but and you have so many different characters you have to deal with, especially in the construction industry.
Yeah.
Like it's a rough industry. It's not for the weak of heart. It's definitely not corporate. It's definitely not
No.
tech. It's
Hmm.
definitely not like what's the word, politically correct. So it's definitely a rough industry, especially
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah, no, I know it can be. It's all guys you're working with, so
Yeah.
that's what happens sometimes, you're just dealing with different versions of masculinity basically.
Yeah.
Um, all right, cool. So before we even get into like the next thing, so you did that for you said like 8 years, right?
Yeah, 8 to 10 years. And then
Uh,
I left in right before the pandemic, like 2000, actually February of 2020 is when I decided to leave. And then the pandemic hit in March. So great timing, right?
yeah, yeah. Honestly though, like I feel like yes, it really was great timing though, because it allowed you to probably make that transition with everybody else making weird transitions at the same time, like
Yeah, I kind of like always remind myself like you always hear of like stories of like huge like multi-million dollar companies like starting or getting their start in the middle of like some crisis. Like you always hear
mhm,
about companies that started in like 2008 who are like multi-million dollar companies now, or like companies that started in the middle of like the Great Depression.
yeah.
And so that's what kind of I reminded myself, and it was good because you know as a millennial, people that grew up on social media all the time, you're always, even if you're not supposed to, you're always comparing yourself to somebody else because you see like everybody's greatest hits, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok. It's like everybody seems to be living their best life. And then you look at your life and you're just like, well, I'm nowhere near that. And it could be all fabricated, I would say. And it definitely is like mostly fabricated. And during that time of the pandemic, I feel like everybody paused, everybody slowed down, and so it allowed me to really like focus on what I wanted to do with my business and like what niche I wanted to attack and like where I wanted to see myself in that 3, 5, 10 year plan. So yeah, it kind of did work out. The only thing that really sucked is that I left my job right before the pandemic, so I didn't get the unemployment checks while I was
Mm,
figuring it out, but it worked out.
yeah, that would have been nice. Nice
Yeah.
little added bonus at the end of every month. Yeah, I remember that kind of worked out pretty nice for me. I got some crazy, like, I was working part time, getting unemployment checks. It was wild. I was like,
Yeah.
this. I was making more money doing that than I was working full time. It was
Yeah.
like ridiculous. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, let's go.
That was a
But
common theme.
oh, for sure. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I mean, that's I think like a good intro, let's say, to where you're at and so on. We're gonna go more into like your business and other things as well. So the first like ice break question is, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me, and I've always said this, like I'm a father of two. I have a 7 year old, she's about to turn 8 next month, and a
Nice.
5 year old that's going to turn 6 in June. And success to me is always been freedom of time. Like time is a big factor in success. Like um I remember I was watching something a couple of years ago, a couple of months ago about The Rock. And The Rock is huge in his own right, a movie star, came from
Yeah.
wrestling. And I remember he said like he had like his daughter's something to do with his daughter, but he had to like film something at the same time. And he was like, no, it's non-negotiable. Like I'm going to my daughter's, his daughter's just a pageant or something, and then after that pageant I'll be on set and we could continue filming. And like that is success to me, to be able to, because when I was working in the union in like that corporate slash construction setting, I remember my daughter was just born, she was small, she had like her first ever like ballet recital. She must have been like 2 at the time. My second daughter wasn't even born yet, and I told my manager at the time, hey, I'd have to leave early to go to my daughter's dance recital. And he was just like, are you sure? Like, rolling eyes, sigh. And I'm just like, man, fuck you. Like, it's my
Yeah,
daughter's dance recital.
literally.
Like, I could finish my work whenever. And so that is like really probably the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And that really is success to me. Having that time freedom to like spend with your family, to spend with those you love, that like, necessarily unnecessarily, that like, the people I work with like have to wait for me in order to do stuff. Like the schedule is based around my life, not my life is based around the schedule. And so yeah, that's what success looks like to me.
Yeah. I think the more I do these podcasts, and the more I listen to what other people's versions of success are, I'm starting to find a clearer picture, and that really is the definition, is having that freedom of time,
Yeah.
that, and like who would want to miss, those types of events, like where it's family events or things with your friends, or even just something simple recently that I've thought, just like doing small hobbies and things that like, or like creative tasks, like, oh, I want to build this in my backyard because I've been wanting to, make a
Yeah.
garden in my backyard, but I don't have the time to do it, like those little things. It's like, yeah, of course you could hire somebody to do it, but it's not as fulfilling when you do things like yourself and you're like, you have the time to do the things that you truly want to do. And if that's, family, friends, or if it's something personal, yeah, I'm right there with you. Success has to be like around that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That reminds me of another story when this was years ago when I was in the construction industry. I had just started a new job and my friend was getting married. He was getting married in like Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just started a job in like, I think it was like November, December, and he was getting married in like February, right around this time right now. And I was like, oh, I can't go. I just started a new job, blah, blah. I don't have the time off. And like all my friends went. I didn't go because it was just like, and like I remember they were paying me more than I was ever paid at that time. So I was just like, oh yeah, I made it. But my friends went, I didn't go. I was stuck here at home in the cold. They're all in Colombia. They all came back and they're like, bro, that was the best time in the world. And I regretted not going. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, time is definitely a huge factor in success for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I do know, and I'm sure you know this too, because we are both young and trying to build, companies, large companies, to get out of this rat race, let's call it.
Yeah.
Like, I know right now a lot of my time has to be sacrificed. I
Yeah.
know that I'm putting in ridiculous amount of hours, and I would love to be spending more time with, my friends, my family, and so on. But what I think is nice that allows you, when you're running your own company and doing your own thing, is that you could kind of navigate when that time is,
Yeah.
as opposed to someone being like, yeah, you can't go, I need you here.
Unapproved. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, like when I hear people say like, oh yeah, I asked my boss for a day off and they told me no, I feel like I just wouldn't show up. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's
like
like
I'm like,
I'm not asking. I'm just telling you I won't be here that
yeah,
day.
that's how I would go about it. Is I'm telling you I'm not gonna be at work this day. Like, you don't control my life,
Yeah.
Like that's not how this works. I show up and I work for you, and I try and do my best when I'm here, whatever. But like that hurts, And it's nice
Yeah.
that there is a lot of companies today where they have like unlimited days off, and there
Yeah.
is, I think that's definitely changed if you find the right company.
Yeah.
Like my cousin was saying, he works for a company and he's like, I love it. They treat me so well. He's like, I feel like I have all this time management on my own personal life. And I was like, that's cool, because I don't even know what that's like in a job. I've never
Yeah.
found that before. So like, keep it,
Yeah. Definitely have to go out there and look for those.
Yeah. But as a business owner, you want to be able to provide that for people, Like I know what that's like, and I would never want to put that on anybody that works for me in that position, like ever.
Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
you have something you need to do, no problem. Work can wait, it's gonna be here tomorrow. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I agree. I'm a big proponent for working on schedules and due dates. I don't care what you do between now and the due date, just get it done by the due date.
yeah,
Like if you like working at night, if you like working in the morning, if it doesn't matter, like the due date's a week from now, just get it done by the due date.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a class assignment though,
Hmm.
realistically. It makes
Yeah.
working a lot easier because it's like, okay, cool. I can now manage my own time. I know I have to do this, and then it's makes your life just that much better. All right. So since we're even talking about business in a sense, tell me more about your business. It's like a two-part question though. So it's tell me about your business and then like why do you do it? What makes you tick?
Yeah, so like I said, my business is in marketing and video production and a little bit of PR. And I do it because I just love to dissect people's business myself. And it kind of turned more, it was originally supposed to be like me doing my own research into like what's successful, like how do successful people run their business? How do these businesses run? And then it turned into like marketing because it's just like how to get more people through the door. And I was trying to take that info and use it for myself for my business, and it kind of just fell into a niche of like I said, marketing and video production. And it just worked because now in the day of age of like everything's online, everything's digital, every company is a content creation company. um you know everybody needs what we do, especially during the pandemic when like everybody was home watching videos and movies and shows and TikToks and Instagram reels. It was just insane. Like the amount of content you have to pump out, a company has
Mhm.
to pump out on a daily basis is insane. Like you have to pump out content daily, especially if like you're an influencer. I mean, not necessarily like big companies, but that's what really makes me tick. Like really going into a company's mission, their strategy, their vision, who their target market is,
Mhm.
um, how they're attacking that target market, and what ways can they attack that target market, how to convert those into sales. And so, yeah, that all just comes back to seeing people win. I love seeing people win, and I love it when people see results. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of like people go on social media and post like pictures of like their abs because they've been heavy in the gym, and like, you get the thirst traps, and that's just a form of quick gratification. Like that's my form of gratification. Like seeing people like, yo, Theo, you did awesome. Like I got whatever causes they like, people are giving me second looks. Like, yeah, that's my gratification.
Hell yeah. I from everything you just said, and this is something that I personally like, the feeling of your customers trusting you and letting like hearing what you have to say, taking your word on things, then you implement those things and then it works and then you get that gratification, like that is like the best high in the world,
Yeah, it's
realistically,
such a high. It's
Yeah.
such a high. Yeah.
I like as you were saying it, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about because I love that feeling. And you don't get that being an employee, your boss will close the door on you and be like, yeah, we got to talk about this,
Yeah.
when you are working from this standpoint, especially in marketing, you have to know like everything about the company. It's like, don't
Yeah.
leave any detail out because then I might miss the message and then all this content might not work the way that we want to. So it's like, let's be as transparent as possible. Um, cool. I love that. That's a good one.
I love it.
Obviously you do it for, other reasons as well, family and to grow and what we just spoke about as far as success, getting that freedom of time. But
Hmm.
that in itself, I think is really the core reason. Like that's a good reason to do what you're doing and why you want to have a business and why you want to help people. And I think that is the real key to owning a successful business is having that as your mindset rather
Yeah.
than, sales and whatever else. It's like, okay, how do I show these people that I care and give them results that make them happy and you happy, morally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the other big reasons is just I was just tired of not working on myself. After college, I just spent years working at somebody else's company, on somebody else's company. And, I'm sure it might be different if you're kind of like in a director or C-suite position, a CFO, a CMO, a CTO, where it's just like you have stock in the company and, the company winning equates to you winning in some type of monetary or other form. But like, as a regular employee, like you get a check and you're in there day in, day out, and the work you're doing is for somebody else's growth. It's not even your own. And that is also a big reason. It was just like I just spent years out of college, working on somebody else's company, not my own. I didn't have a side hustle. I didn't do any of that. So I wanted to take a step back and work on my own growth. And I would say just like focusing on myself within the last like 3 years, and my company has really shown some major growth. And I would say it's mostly within the last couple of months. Like, and you just have to have that delusional, blind goal setting to like keep at it, because there's so many people that would give up, and it's totally understandable. But you have to be kind of delusional in your goal to be like, yo, this is going to work no matter how hard it works gets. And it just started.
Yeah. Blind faith, they call it, right?
Yeah.
Just believing it'll happen no matter what. Yeah, I mean, I like to have visions of the things that my goals, and try and even like vision to specifics of what they look like. And
Yeah.
that really, really helps. So you kind of, since we're talking about winning in a sense and those goals and aspects, now this can pertain to literally anything at all. Have you ever won at anything in life? It could be business related, it could be personal related, it could be sports related, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that pops into my head is I won a game show once.
No
Yeah,
way.
I won like $12,000 on a game show once.
Holy crap.
Um,
What game show?
it doesn't even show in New York, and it's not even around anymore. It was called Let's Ask America. And if
Okay.
you YouTube it, you'll find it. And there you could probably find my episode and see my face in the corner, because like they never played it, put the full episodes on YouTube, and it was never shown in New York, at least. I don't know what other states it was shown in.
Yeah.
But basically it was like the first online based, like Zoom based game back in like,
Okay.
I would say like 2015, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like you zoomed in, you had four contestant, and it was basically like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
People would like answer questions, and like you'd have to find like the most popular question, be like Kim Kardashian, blah blah blah. It was just like pop culture questions, and I ended up winning $12,000. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then after that, the producer, because like I used to be huge into CrossFit, I'm a very active person. The
Cool.
producer of that show also was like the producer of American Ninja Warrior, and American Ninja Warrior just started getting big at the time. He was like, yo, you need to come out to Cali, like
Mm-hmm.
audition for an American Ninja Warrior. We need to bring you out. You're definitely good at it. You do CrossFit, blah, blah, that's your stick or whatever. But I had just had my first daughter, so that was like, I can't just go out to Cali with like a newborn at home. Like, and that's another thing. It was just like, even whether you have a kid or not, like you just want, and I was working at the time. So it's like I was working, I can't go take off of work to go out to Cali with a newborn. That's
Yeah.
another reason, like time and money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
You're like, how am
you
I
had
going to
all these
afford it?
opportunities that might fall in your lap, and then you're just like, I can't because of time and money. And that's something that, I guess as I'm talking right now in person, the first time, like I'm seeing over and over and over again, whether it's my friend's wedding, my daughter being born and getting opportunity to be on American Ninja Warrior, recitals. Like I've had so many instances where it's like I've passed upon opportunity that's like I'm never gonna do that again,
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
But you could probably say over the past 3 years that you passed up on way less opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't passed up on a thing in 3 years.
Yeah. And it's so
Yeah.
much fun when people invite you like that. You're in this networking group and they invited me to do a polar plunge yesterday. And that was just
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I was just like, I
Yeah.
would never say yes to that. Literally would never. If you asked me that 3 years ago, I would have been like, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But I'm like, you know what? Why not? What do I have to lose? I'll probably
Yeah.
have a good time. Oh yeah, sure. It's so much more fun saying yes to things than it is to
Yeah.
just like
Life is
making.
about experiences. You just have to experience it, man.
Absolutely,
And you have
absolutely.
to set up the goals and the revenue streams in order for you to experience that freely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be like a game plan, like
Mhm.
your own process, your own game in your life, and then you have to make it fun.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I like what you said though, as far as winning. That's hilarious. Being on a game show, 12K, so that's a decent amount of money, man. That's
Yeah, that
pretty
was a
good.
decent amount of money. Yeah.
That's
And I
pretty
can't tell you what I did with it, to be honest. That's crazy about it. Like, I can't tell you what I do with it. It's
good.
fucking crazy.
It's all right. It probably went to some regular things, I'm sure, just
Yeah.
slowly dwindled over time.
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah.
here, a little bit there,
And
new
this is
pair of
before I
shoes.
knew anything about like the stock options and
Oh yeah,
ETFs. And I was just like, man, if I knew then, but you live and you learn.
absolutely. But that's a fun story to tell. Hey man.
That's
All right, cool. So this next thing that I have here is kind of like out of left field, I would say. Different, we'll switch the script kind of thing. This is about core values and cultural beliefs. So the way I always explain this is that like growing up, my parents or even friends or family members, sometimes they would like put their fears on me in a sense, like kind of even how we started this out, having to get a job and like having to just secure that 9 to 5 with a 401k and making sure you're comfortable in your place and like don't go do crazy things. Like the day I quit my job to do what I'm doing now, both my parents were like, you're crazy, why would you
yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
So like I had to remove that, like be like, you know what, I love them and they have great things to offer as far as like being loving, great parents and even friends and whoever, kind of was a denier in that sense. Like you
Yeah.
could pull good things from them, okay, fine. But I had to remove that aspect and now have to like reprogram. And it's almost like an everyday process at this point. But do you have anything similar or any cases where you've had to like remove those beliefs?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I am from a Haitian background. My parents are Haitian, I'm like first generation. I
Oh.
am first, not like I am first generation. So yeah, like my parents are so happy when I became like a project manager and was making like $80,000 a year and blah blah. Like, oh my God, you have such a good job. You have such a 401k. And when I said I was leaving that, they thought I was insane. They thought I was insane. They were like, why wouldn't you do that? Just do your time, be happy, keep your mouth shut. And I was just like, nah, that's not, that's how I was brought up. But like, one thing about millennials is like, um, we are working through that. And,
Yeah.
what what we want to achieve is what we see Gen Z achieving right now. Gen Z don't give a fuck, bro. And I love that for them. Like they are so themselves. They don't take shit from anybody. They are breaking barriers and like being corporate and making money while not conforming to like the way things should be. And that was the same way I was like it was tough breaking that. And you have to really you really had that imposter syndrome. You really had that, do I know what I'm doing? Can I make it? Especially as like a black guy in America, like I feel like I have to try like 10 times harder
Yeah.
than most people in order to be successful, which I do feel sometimes still. But like I see the payoff. And I'm breaking traditions and breaking norms every single day. Um, and so far it's been good. So far it's been showing me a lot. And so far I've been like growing as a person. And having two little girls of my own, it's just like I can't wait to see what they achieve. Because you see success in other people by like generational wealth. And that's all I want for my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being able to give them a couple of let's say I started here, I just want to make sure they start from here. And my parents started all the way down here off frame. So just making sure that
Yeah.
they have, by breaking those norms, I'm making sure that they have those steps in order to be the best they can be in whatever they choose to be,
Yeah.
with a higher probability of getting there than I was.
Yeah. Yeah. Legacy stuff, man. That's
Yeah.
huge. trying to leave behind something more. And generational wealth, I don't even think I've really spoken about it on this podcast yet, but it is a term that has definitely been sticking with me.
Mm-hmm.
Huge,
Absolutely.
the thing that is tricky is, and that I'm realizing, is that generational wealth is a funny thing when the wealth is now being transferred to the next generation and how they go about using it.
Yeah.
Because like I can see two sides, and like what is it called? It's like every 80 years, I forget what it's called. It's basically like strong men create good times, and then it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, I heard that.
good times create weak men, and then weak men create hard times, and then
Times
hard
and
times
hard
create
times create
strong
strong
men.
men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just keeps restart. That process keeps going over and over, and like that really sticks with me when I think of generational wealth. That like comes into my head. It's like, well, you could save $1 gajillion for these people and give it to them, and then like what kind of people are they going to be? And
Mhm.
like I would not want to do that in a sense. And I feel like I can almost see that, in my own family, like growing up. My grandmother was from Dominican Republic. My grandfather was the first generation Italians. And then on my mom's side, uh, my grandfather and grandma and grandfather, I believe, were the first generation in the country. I want to say may
Mhm.
have been second. I don't really remember exactly, but they were able to do pretty well for themselves. Grew up, they all were born, let's say, like the 30s, and then by like
Mhm.
the 50s it was pretty good in America. Like people that had like a job for the most part were able to grow in those positions, and then by the time they're now like 60 years old, they're like a CFO in the company, and they're like, woo.
Yeah.
Which is not really traditional in today's world, though. Like nobody sticks with a company for like 30-40 years
Not
until
at
they're
all.
like
No.
at the top, like.
Yeah.
And like I that to me though, like when I look at my aunts and uncles, and like I love every single one of them, but I almost don't see that same level of like hard work and like work ethic and so on and so forth. And I could probably see that with a lot of like, even I could pick out like friends that have parents that are in similar situations or whatever. I really, and this is like so off topic from everything, but I don't know. I feel like there's some correlation, and something that I would love to do as I grow and create something. I think video would be a really good way to go about it, like to create like a legacy video for my family members as like I'm
Yeah.
a dead man, and be like, listen,
Yeah.
like,
I
don't
like
be,
that.
yeah, like, I don't know, just like, don't be a shithead. Like,
Yeah. Like the final scene of the Avengers where Iron Man is dead, and then he's like, I love you 3000 to his like daughter.
Yes, exactly. Super heart wrenching. I think everybody
Yeah,
cried when they saw that. But like,
absolutely.
I don't know, that kinds of stuff though. Like, I would want to like almost try and ensure that, because like I growing up, man, like I grew up in a town where it was very diverse. There was a lot of rich kids, and then there was like middle class, and then there was like people that were under middle class in a sense. And like I never had parents that were like buying me a brand new car, or like could even
Yeah,
afford to put me on like the travel soccer team or anything like that. Like I wanted to do these things, it's just they were like, sorry, we don't have it. But I had
yeah.
friends that are getting brand new BMWs,
Mhm.
Infinities, Mercedes, you know what I mean? And you're just like, sick, bro. Like that's nice, can I drive it?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
So like,
it's always just like the values you have to instill, which I'm doing with my daughters. It was just like, I want to have that generational wealth and those multiple streams of incomes. That of course I want to buy them a BMW. Of course I want to buy them a G Wagon if I could. Like, hell yeah, that would be dope to be like, yeah, my daughter did amazing. I'm gonna buy her a G Wagon for her 16th birthday. But I'm not just gonna buy you a G Wagon. You need to prove to me that you're a hardworking individual, whether that's in school when you're
yeah,
16 years old, and it's like, yeah, your parents have 50, 100, $200,000 to give you to have seed money for your startup or whatever it is. But I'm not just gonna give you seed money for your startup. I need to see a business plan, just like I had to do. I need to see it work. At like, what's the word? What's your proof of concept?
mm-hmm.
Like let me see it in a small scale, and how you're gonna get bigger. Like give me the 5-year plan, that kind of thing. So I think it's just like,
Yeah.
having those values that I definitely would instill.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also speaking of a place who has no children whatsoever. So I have no idea. These are all, basic skepticisms that I've made throughout
Yeah.
my life and just viewing things. But I like that, and I can pick apart people that I've met where I think their parents have definitely instilled those values. where, they have had the nice things handed to them, but they still understand what it's like to work hard,
Hmm.
and they know that those things are not easily achieved, and they really appreciate their parents for doing those things for them. So,
Yeah.
that's cool. I love that. I'm glad we kind of just went off on that tangent. I think you taught me something a little bit. All right, so something in a similar vein as like cultural beliefs. I know you said you're a Haitian, so you probably have, I would think, like a religious background of some
Hmm.
sort. This doesn't really necessarily have to be religious, though. I ask the question is, are you spiritual, and do you use it to move you forward? So it doesn't necessarily have to be religious, but like meditating, manifesting, like anything along those lines. Do you do that? Are you religious about it? Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely do like I'm not religious, but I am like spiritual.
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic. I was baptized. I got my confirmation and everything.
Yeah.
So I went to a Catholic elementary school and high school.
Oh,
So
cool.
like yeah, I'm like, I was raised Catholic. But definitely have moved away from that, not because like and it did me wrong or anything. It's just that like, growing up and learning about like all the different religions and cultures, it's like I see something in everything. I see
Yeah.
something that I would like to take, I like and don't like in Catholicism. I see stuff I like and don't like in Judaism. I see stuff I like in Buddhism and all those other stuff. And like if I can make like a mishmash of everything, like I would. Maybe that's a new company. There's Scientologies. Maybe I should make like my own religion that's a mishmash of everything. It's just like hybrid religion, whatever. But
It
yeah,
exists, I'm pretty sure. I
it
don't know the
doesn't.
name of
I
it.
wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised.
Yeah.
But I am definitely spiritual in a sense. Like I have my book here. I journal. I believe there's like a really big power to like putting stuff down in words
Hmm.
and reading those words out loud. I'll just tell you straight up right now. Like my birthday is November 3rd. I turn 35 this coming November, and
Nice.
so ever since I was like in my 20s, I was just like, I'm going to make $750,000 or more yearly for the next 100 years. Once I turn 35 and then on, like, and so like I started journaling actually last year. And then I really started like manifesting as well, like last year as well, like writing things down and really saying it. Um, in the morning and at night out loud every day. I try to go to the gym in the morning. I really do think there's also a power in being being busy, I would say this. I'm not thinking of the word right now, but I really find myself like the best times that I've felt in my business life has been the times that I've been the most fit in my personal life, like waking up at 4:35 a.m., doing an hour at the gym, coming home, making breakfast for the kids, dropping them off at school, doing my work, doing whatever, like, getting time to meditate or stretch, whatever is really like beneficial to me. So like yeah, like I really do believe that saying stuff out loud, like I have a saying that I say like all the time, and it's just like I'm going to make 750K or more after tax by the time I turn 35 by providing the best digital marketing services I can provide, um, and making it into a self-sufficient passive income business. And I've been saying that daily, 2 times a day for the past like month or two. And
Cool.
I've been getting a lot of things like coming across my lap, a lot of things like not a lot of looks, a lot of people reaching out to me like out of nowhere. For example, like today I had this lady who is the head of a really, really, really big construction firm out here in the city. If I say the name, you probably would, but I'm not going to say the name right now. And she straight up reached out to me last night during Super Bowl and was like, I came across your resume, I came across your portfolio, I came across your LinkedIn, and I think you would be perfect as like the director of marketing at our firm. I would love to
Wow.
talk to you. And I talked to her like an hour ago. We had like an hour and a half conversation.
Wow.
Now she wants me to meet like the head of the firm and everything. And it's like that came out of left field. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, so yeah, I am a very spiritual person. Like one thing I tell my wife is like, don't bring no negative vibes around me, bro. Like
Mm.
I am not
Mm-hmm.
with the
Yeah.
shits with negative vibes. Like,
Uh-uh.
I think everybody has heard of or at least read the Power of Attraction, The Secret. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great
And
book. And the
I
show
am a,
was good.
I am 100% on board with like the vibes that you put out is what you get back. So like
Yeah.
if you
The
wake up
power
in
of
a bad
positive thinking.
yeah, if you wake up in a bad mood, if you're like someone all the time, like you're gonna get that back. I'm some person who's like always smiling, always hyping people up, always happy, even at the worst of times. I try to like be happy and like, take a moment, breathe, acknowledge my feelings and move on and find solutions. Like
Yeah.
that is 150% me. Um, yeah, like I'm definitely spiritual in that sense. And I feel like over the past couple of months, it's really been helping me.
Hell yeah. Spirituality is important. Putting
Yeah.
yourself, having your thoughts positive. I think I'm gonna write stuff down because I interviewed like I said, Adam has a coach who's just on the podcast. I interviewed his coach and he was talking about journaling. And I tried doing it on my computer, like just on a Word document.
Mhm.
But I don't know, it like wasn't it
Now I need
was
to get a book, man. Like
yeah, I
even in
think
my
that's
book,
it.
I'll show you right now. Like I even like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like I like handed my kids the book and they like in between like my journals,
Oh,
they
that's
like
cool.
they like write little like here's my journals, here's like little coloring stuff like
How fun is that?
like here's my last entry, here's
It's
like
like some
whatever
added
from
motivation.
yeah, so it's kind of like there's a power of like typing it and writing it and then reading it. And plus like there's another thing that
It's also
I
like
was
your
listening
book.
yeah, I was listening to a podcast a while ago, and they were interviewing the lady who was like Jeff Bezos' right hand woman from like for like years, like eight to
Oh,
10 years. And she was telling some crazy stories about Jeff, how like she almost killed him in a helicopter crash
oh God.
because like back in like 2000 like the early 2000s like Jeff Bezos knew that he wanted to open up Blue Origin, which is a space company,
Yeah.
and so he was just like, hey, I need you to find me a helicopter to see I need you to set up a tour for me to see sites in Texas where I'm going to build the space station. And then she's like, how is he going to do that? They're hundreds of miles away. She's like, oh, helicopter. She got him a helicopter. The helicopter ended up crashing with Jeff Bezos in it, and like he ended up like not being hurt, but the pilot was, so he had to like climb to the top of this like huge hill. I wouldn't say mountain because there's no mountains in Texas, and like use the sat phone to like call for help or whatever. But that's besides the point. Anyway, she was talking about how when she was working with Jeff, she kept a journal and she would write everything. And this is before like there was Google at the time, whatever, but this was before like the internet as we currently know it. So like trying to figure stuff out for Jeff Bezos at the time was not as easy as like pulling up Chat GPT. Like, so like she kept the journal, and now as like a multimillionaire herself, like she ended up running another company because of her relation to Jeff Bezos. She looks back and she was just like, I have some of my journals, but not all of them. And it's crazy to look back and see where I came from and see what I did. And like I'm at a point in my life where it's like I know I'm in the phase of rapid growth, especially with like my mantra I told you I say every morning and every night, that like I want to be able to look back and see like where I was. And so like yeah,
That'll be a good
journaling
way.
is extremely powerful in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to at least be able to look back and how what I just said, like it is your book in that sense, which is kind of cool. You put it on a shelf, like I
Yeah.
can't put a Word document on a shelf. Like it's stuck on my computer. I could transfer it, sure, but like
Yeah.
it's tangible. So I'm definitely buying a journal after the Zoom call for sure. Gonna order one on Amazon.
Absolutely. Get a nice like moleskin and go
Yeah,
for it,
yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that's nice. It makes you want to write in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear that. It's funny too, because even what you were saying about being contacted yesterday, I got contacted by some real estate lady that lives like apparently around the block from me. And she was telling me she's like one of the biggest real estate agents in Nassau County. And I was like, cool. And she was like, yeah,
Mhm.
you called me like months ago and I saved your voicemail. You were saying that you did something about videos, and I was like, sure, like I have no idea what you're talking about. But like I probably did call you, you know. I call a
Yeah.
lot of I'm always calling people and trying to grow. And I'm like, wow, thank you, old me, for like doing the right thing and working hard that day, because now I get a phone call from this lady, like however many months later. I have no idea when I made that call, being like, hey, I'm interested in some work, you know. And you love that stuff. You plant
Yeah.
those seeds, or you just do that one little piece of work where it's maybe creating a new video, updating your portfolio, and one person could see it and it amplifies for them. They're like, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I need. Now they're contacting you and you're just like, boom, you know. And it works. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. um Using the opposite though of spirituality is fear. So this is just like the question of, obviously we all get fearful in one way or another, you know. It's We're all human, so it's normal. But um how do you use your fear? Do you like use it to fight it? Obviously you're not the type of person who crawls up into a ball and just like closes the door and, you know, hides and cries kind of thing. But you know, things that you've gone through even in the past, or you know, newer things, how do you take that energy and make you go forward?
Yeah, I say fuck fear. Like I am like in that I'm in that I've always been somebody who's just like even when I was on teams, when I was working, like you always used to have coworkers that was just like, ah, can you believe what Tom did? Like I was supposed to do this and he didn't do that, and like don't come to me with that. Like okay, I'll listen to you vent, but like by the end of this discussion, like what is your solution to the problem? So
Mm,
like yeah, like everybody has fear, everybody has that imposter syndrome, but like I don't listen to that at all, because even if I don't know a thing about what, somebody is trying to like ask of me, I'll figure it out. I'll
mm.
find a way to figure it out. We're in 2023. Even before, like, Chat GPT came out 2 months ago, but like even before that, we live in a world of Google. Like you no longer have to go to encyclopedia in the library to find answers. You have the entire internet. I say this all the time. My brother-in-law just bought a house a year ago and renovated his house. He was never a builder. He renovated his house through YouTube. He watched YouTube videos and did an amazing job
That's
renovating his
cool.
house. Didn't hire a contractor, just had time and energy. And like just fear is non-existent. Like you have to be able to like work through that. I've dealt with so many people who have fear, like what ifs, what if this, yeah, what if, there's a lot of what ifs, everything is a what if, like,
Yeah.
so it's just like, as I said, it's like that blind delusion. I said, like, you
Mm.
just have to make it work. So yeah, I've probably used any fear I've had to like recycle it into like, okay, how can I fake it till I make it? What's the answer to this question? How am I
Yeah.
going to find that answer? Where do I look for it? Who do I call? What do I Google? That kind of thing. Yeah.
Hell yeah, resiliency, you know, and never giving up.
Hmm.
That is the key to success realistically, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that's one of the things that aggravates me a lot of times, even with like friends and family, is when I hear their fears and they're telling you about them, and you can clearly see like, oh, there's a solution here, or here's, you know, the steps to take in order to solve this problem. Being an entrepreneur or somebody owning a business, you usually have to be solution oriented. You
Hmm.
can't, you know, be all freaked out by problems, or you're probably not going to get very far. And I have a hard time even still hearing people say like, "Oh, I can't do this. I get, you know, for this reason." And I'm
Yeah.
just like, "That's an excuse. You're making
Yeah.
excuses. You can
Yeah.
do it. It's just a matter of, are you willing to or not?"
Yeah. Don't tell me I can't do it. I hate
Mhm.
that when people say I can't do stuff. Even when my kids say I can't do it, I'm like, no, you can. You can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of if you're willing to. And that's okay, you know. If people are not willing to do something, it's fine, you know. But it's hard when someone tells you I can't do something and they're like set on it, and you're like, no, you know, you're just, your fear is getting in the way. You could absolutely do it.
Hmm.
So hey man, that was a great answer. Probably the most unique so far as like just fuck fear, basically, you know, like
Really? I'm surprised.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody kind of just gives me just like, you know, I try to use fear in a way to like push me forward. And like that seems to be like, I mean, it's a great answer, but what you said is being solution oriented. And I think that key term right there is like, yeah, it's using the same thing, but taking your fear. Yes, this scares me. Okay, how do I get out of this? How do I fix
Yeah.
this? What do I do to put myself, because you even said something like having someone ask you to do something you don't know how to do. You know how many clients have asked me to do shit I don't know how to do? And I'm just like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we
yeah.
could do
And then
that.
all of a sudden I do it and I'm like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. I just did it. Now the next
Yeah.
person who asked me to do it, I'm like, yeah, I know how to do that. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's great. You got to tackle that stuff head on.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So, I mean, this is pretty much wrapping it up here. Is there anything currently that you're working on right now?
Um, I'm just working on scaling. We have a couple of clients that we're doing amazing work for in social media marketing and digital marketing. And right now I'm just looking for, people. I'm looking to do our own marketing. As much as we do marketing for everybody else, I have yet to do marketing for my own company. And so now I'm getting into the stage of like making sure my clients are set with like their own marketers. And then I'm gonna set up like our drip email sales campaign out there, hiring help, and making sure that, as I said, now media turns into a self-sufficient company that gives me passive incomes where I could start working on my next project and getting those streams. So yeah, it's just scaling. I'm bootstrapping and scaling right now.
Hell yeah. I know what it's like to bootstrap. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you. I know it would be nice to have like somebody rich in my life. Like, here's $100,000. I'd be like,
Yeah.
sick. But it doesn't work that way. But I
Hmm.
think I think the win aspect, I'll feel that much better once I get to a level where I can look back and be like, wow, I
Yeah.
was able to get from nothing and kind of create something.
Yeah.
And how I started this out, man, like you are a winner in my life. I'm gonna follow you because we're doing the same thing. I wanna get to your level and eventually beat you.
Yeah, but there's plenty of work, bro. I'm sure.
Oh, I
I'm
know
sure
it.
sooner. You crossed my mind a couple of times. I'm sure sooner or later I'm gonna be like, yo, let me call Tom and let me see if I could pass some of this work on to him if he wants to join. So don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll work together very soon. I
I'm
don't doubt
sure.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. The sky is the limit, my friend, and I can't pass up anything now that's like you really never know what opportunities might come, or even like what you just said, you have a company come to you and like, hey, we want to like bring you on as full time, as
Yeah.
like this consultant, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. Didn't even think that was an option in this
Yeah.
industry, and here I am doing it. So
Yeah.
that's cool, man. And I mean, I guess you basically asked. The next question is just goals. If you have any goals, but I mean, it's you kind of just said it, just a scale. I
Yeah.
mean.
The goals are really just, my real goals. I mean, my real goals is to be like a producer slash
Cool.
director on some like creative shit. Like, if I had to say a goal, like my next goal is to have something on like Netflix or Apple or
There you go.
Amazon or like, just be like, I would love to be like the next Ryan Coogler. I love directing. I love creative shit like that. I love the arts. So like, um, yeah, those are my dreams, my dream
Mm.
goals. Yeah,
There's
that.
no reason why not, man.
Yeah,
No reason why not. Keep
yeah,
on manifesting it. You never know. And
yeah.
I would think nowadays is probably easier to do it now than it probably was 50 years ago to get in
Oh
on
yeah,
stage, you know what I mean, and get yourself in front of the right people because you have platforms to do it. Like imagine
yeah,
having to walk around with like a piece of film being like, hey, watch this. Like now it's like, here's a link, or someone might stumble across it online and be like,
yeah,
whoa, wow, this guy's great, he's super creative, what is this?
yeah. What a time to be alive.
Literally, it's crazy, but you never know. You really never know. So yeah, that is the best thing to say. What a time to be alive. All right. So anybody that wants to find you or do some research online, is there a place that we can search your
I mean, I'm
business
on
or
everything. If you want to follow me for my business thought leadership, just find me on LinkedIn, Theodore Massillon, Massillon. If you want to find me just talking shit about pop culture and like anything that comes to mind, find me on Twitter at Theo Massillon, the THE0 and my last name Massillon, on Twitter. And then, I just use Instagram as like a portfolio.
Yeah.
That's where I just drop pictures of it. And I'm not really on Instagram much. I mean, it's lost its charm. So like I'm mostly on Twitter and LinkedIn now. Have not gotten to a TikTok thing yet.
Yeah.
I like being behind the camera, not in front of the camera. But yeah, LinkedIn and Instagram, Theodore Massillon or at Theo Massillon on Twitter.
Sick.
Yeah,
Cool, man. All right. Well, I mean, look, this has been a ton of fun. Learning more about you has been really, really cool. I'm happy we did this.
yeah.
Um,
I'm happy I'm here. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man, this was great, and I mean, like I said, just following the winners overall. This is a really, I think anybody who were to watch this podcast, specifically this podcast, it's you laid out a lot of really valid points on how to kind of like help the everyday person like navigate through just the little things, like how to understand success, how to put goals in place, how to understand manifesting. So like this has been great, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thanks, man.
Thank you.